I like John Venturini in our chat says, it's time to get uncomfortable. The Redacted show starts right now. Yes, welcome into Redacted, the show that gets you a little uncomfortable because we're not going to whitewash the news. We're going to cover stories you're not going to see in the mainstream media. We're going to pull the rug back, pull the rug out from underneath these.
We're gonna pull the wool up, out from over your eyes.
Raise the blinds.
Yes, I'm Natali Morris. This is Clayton Morris. We are married. We were journalists for the mainstream media. Now we are no longer. We have with us Philip and David in the control booth. Hello, boys.
Hello from me. David is not here. I don't think he might be joining. He is actually showing improvement though. He said he's starting to feel better.
So David he had a pinched nerve. He had a pinched nerve where he literally couldn't move at all. Like that's what this crazy news cycle will do to you.
He's been playing YouTube peekaboo because the way that we have it set up is that he can see us. It's like Foucault's panopticon. He can see us, but we can't see them. Yeah. He's playing peekaboo. But yes, our intention is to question the main narrative of what the news has us otherwise believe. I had a conversation with our accountant today, and he said, I read your newsletter and I can't tell what side you're on. And I was like, good. I was so thrilled by that because this is an educated guy, right? Who he has a side. Absolutely he does. And I know what it is. And he was like, what side are you on? I'm like, neither. I'm the side of humans, no government, no like man-made structure that hurts people.
Yeah, when you realize that both political parties in the United States are corrupt and they're run by they're run by the machine, how can you be for either of those? So we try to call BS and bullshit on all of that here on this show and hold these guys to account.
So if you're here to pigeonhole us and say, oh, you're the Fox guy or you are the MSNBC guy, you'll be sorely disappointed because we hate everybody, but we love you.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So please subscribe. I know we had about 5,000 new subscribers yesterday to the channel. So welcome. We're glad that you're all here and a part of this great community, trying to bring enlightenment and uncovering these stories and giving these stories a voice that you're not going to see in other places. So we begin tonight with an update on Gonzalo Lira, who, as you may know, is the Chilean journalist. He's an American citizen as well, by the way. That's maybe gotten lost in this whole story, who lived in Ukraine for a number of years. And yes, he had a background. He had a story to his life, and he's lived in Ukraine, but he has been reporting on the ground as to what has actually been unfolding in eastern Ukraine, calling attention to Zelensky's corrupt regime, calling attention to Zelensky arming criminals, letting them out of prison and giving them heavy weapons. He's been calling attention to this. He has gone missing. There were reports last night from Scott Ritter and others that he may have been kidnapped by the Azov Battalion, a brigade within the Azov Battalion that actually nabbed him and then subsequently killed him. But no one has been able to independently confirm this yet. And it's been remarkable to see absolute silence on the part of the media. So the Chilean and U.S. authorities are also silent on this.
And this seems like something that the media would really like, right? Anytime there's a way to personify a conflict, the media picks right up on it. It's like J School 101. And this is a person, because maybe they didn't like his brand pre-war, although I would posit that most media remaining silent on this doesn't even know what his brand was and what I'm speaking about when I talk about his brand, because the Daily Beast took the piss out of him a couple weeks ago saying he's gaining a lot of followers on Twitch and on Twitter and other social media because he's actually boots on the ground and he's saying these things that are not part of our narrative. So let me just tell you that before the war, he had this like bro type blog, which okay, right? You don't have to like bro type blogs. I personally don't, but I also am not in Ukraine, right? And so anyone who was giving us context on this, most people doing that are also not there. He had been saying that Ukraine was, in fact, arming criminals, that there were some factions of the Ukrainian military enacting violence. This is not the kind of thing that we are supposed to talk about. We are going to continue to talk about it more later today, so put a pin in it.
Yeah, I mean, and exactly as someone in the chat says, Chris Lucas, Fishing for the Truth, says, if you look up that list that Gonzalo tweeted, he had this pinned on his Twitter page. Says, if you want to learn the truth about Zelensky regime, Google these names, and here's the list of these names. If you haven't heard from me in 12 hours or more, put my name on this list.
Chris Lucas, you're brave. We talked about that the other day, how we all were a bit too scared to Google them. So
Right.
you're hired. Did you do it, Philip?
No, I didn't. I did not. I had pool last night, so I went right from the show to edit to
Okay.
leave.
It was extra credit for any of us
Extra
here.
credit, yes.
But yes, I mean, so at this point, what's amazing about this is that the Chilean media right now, the U.S. media and U.S. authorities, U.S. State Department, no mention of a U.S. citizen from the State Department or the Chilean Foreign Ministry. He's still missing in Ukraine. There have been no official declarations at all. And by the way, it's actually worth noting that no media has been covering this. Literally, the only media that's been covering this is RT. RT has been covering this story, which of course is banned in the United States and Europe. You can't access You cannot access Russia Today on any platform. RT America was shut down, of course, but try to go to RT.com on your computer. You will find that you are not allowed to access that site. It is blocked. Why? Because of censorship. So your ISPs have declared, we can't get this information. RT is covering this story.
Do you think, is there any other way around thinking about this other than the obvious? They don't like his narrative, so they shut him down and they don't care that he's gone missing. So I'm just trying to think backwards, right? Is it because he's not big enough of an influencer? Well, what is the threshold for that? Because we see all kinds of influencers who are Ukrainian models and such posing in war
they don't
gear.
like they don't like this.
No, I'm just giving some. I know what we think. I'm saying, is there any other way to see it?
No, I mean, I really don't. If you can enlighten us in the chat as to, is there another way to see this? Yeah, maybe he's just not as big of a name as
he's not important enough.
But I mean, we've had a Fox News reporters. We had a Fox News cameraman who was killed. We had a Fox News reporter Benjamin Hall, who was hit, lost part of his leg, part of his eye, in a horrible attack. Yes, he's recovering. He was there, but that story was covered, right? Of course. Here's a journalist, though, that is shining a light on the darker side of things, and there's no mention of it, no coverage of it. And he is, and of course, the only big New York media coverage of it was this hit piece on him by the Daily Beast.
So I guess if he's big enough for that, to point out that he's become big on social media, then he's big enough to report he's missing, right?
Right.
So Deedle's Gun in the chat says that he Googled those names too, so you also get extra credit for bravery.
James Figueroa says Clayton has the Superman hair look today, so thank you. It's just the swirly piece here.
Yeah, we both.
So we are going to continue to cover this story and continue to watch any detail that we can glean from the Chilean Foreign Ministry, the United States State Department on this story. There's no comment about it at all. And by the way, watching Jen Psaki's press conference, like no questions about it, no questions from the Western media sitting there in that room in the press pool asking from the
Wait, you said he is a U.S. citizen, right?
Yes.
So then the State Department owes it to him to look. That's what they do. That's the entire reason, in my opinion, to hold an American passport is that they will come in and get you if you are in trouble. That is part of your social contract.
Well, you
100%.
Sandy McLeod.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, look at that contractor in Iraq when ISIS captured. He was just a contractor. And they had him in it was like on the media for like 2 weeks. I mean, they ultimately ended up executing the guy, which was horrible. But the thing is, that guy had zero like social media presence, and we were all over that. So
yeah.
But that was because he was captured by an enemy. And so we're looking at it,
Well, look at this. So Sandy McLeod in our chat just says, hell, I didn't have a clue who Malcolm Nance was, who is the MSNBC analyst who suddenly decided, is like, I'm done talking, I'm going to go fight. And then suddenly everyone knows who that guy is, right? Because now MSNBC has an opportunity to so he's on every major Western media, Washington Post, everything, Al Jazeera, CNN, I'm done talking. Even CNN is covering an MSNBC host. Like, it's bad when that happens. Daily Beast, all of these major publications. But any mention of Gonzalo Lira in the Western press? Good
No.
luck finding that. Good luck finding that in this double standard hypocrisy.
I mean, at the very least, we should have a statement from both of his citizenship countries' state departments. And the last update we had was yesterday, reports that he actually had been captured and killed, but we don't have any confirmation from any official sources. And we do think the media needs to pick up on this and ask as well, not just this media on Redacted.